Hi, welcome to week 6 of Balancing Chakras using Arts and Aromatherapy. This week we concentrate on the brow chakra, which is located in the middle of the forehead, and that's responsible for inner vision, inner sight, intuition. And we've passed the rainbow bridge now, so we've passed the lower chakras and now we're actually reaching up to the crown. And in the journey, the spiritual journey, we get to the next stage, which is past the heart, past the throat of the emotions, and now we're working towards a connection with the heaven. So we're one step away from the place where mystics are born, and that's the crown chakra, and that's the ultimate connection to the divine. That's not to say we don't connect through the heart chakra, or even through the earth, but the third eye chakra is quite prominent in terms of that it's actually about what we can see with our inner eye. When the heart chakra is balanced and we are grounded with the base chakra, then we can bring through the crown into the third eye to see what we need to see and transform it into the physical realm. Again, it's people experience this sort of actualization when they're actually praying or they're meditating, and what you'll find with this chakra is that it's a very, I want to choose my words carefully because I'm actually looking within as I speak, but when you are in this place, your heart is balanced, and when your heart is balanced, you see such wisdom, such grace, such openness, and it's a purity about this place, that the vision and the insight is just, it has, to me, it has no emotion apart from a peaceful resonance about it. And when you get an intuitive hit, it all depends upon your lower chakras, how that is working, and also your heart, if it's balanced. I remember in lesson 3 we talked about the solar plexus, and if that is strengthened and you have a great sense of self, then you are able to act upon your intuition. If you're not, and you're still tied to other people from your solar plexus or your sacral chakra, then you're going to doubt yourself. Now, one thing about this chakra is that a lot of the times you'll get children would see things. They would have visions, they would have dreams, they would maybe see spirits, and what the family tends to do, you tell them not to talk about it. So two things happen. The throat chakra gets shut down, and also the third eye gets shut down, because that child can no longer open themselves up anymore. And I know a lot of the time families do it because they're actually frightened of what's going to happen to the child. But, back in history, the child would have been kind of guided, like you still see in India with children that have some sight. They're kind of guided into a kind of a spiritual life. Whereas in this generation, if you came from an immigrant family, black, Irish, Jewish, whatever, and you spoke about seeing uncle or seeing a ghost or whatever, you'd be shut down because it could create a lot of problems for you and your family. So actually being separated from your natural habitat could actually cause problems for you. And this is what's happening with a lot of children, because they've seen and heard things at a young age. They've been shut down by family members because of the fear of what would happen to them if they went into school saying they saw different things. And with the third chakra, it's really, really a vast subject, because in certain cultures, if you do have visions or see spirits, then that's an initiation. And when I was studying anthropology, I had to do an essay on Mami Wata. It was healing, and I chose a voodoo religion, and I chose the religion of Mami Wata, which originates in Benin. And to be initiated into the cult, not so much cult, but the actual priest and priesthood in with Mamuata, one of the prerequisites, or I wouldn't say prerequisites, but one of the how you'd be initiated into it would be through mental illness. So, according to the research I had, it's not everybody that suffers from mental illness becomes a priest. But what they was actually saying is that in the United States, if you came from that line of family, and normally it would be initiated from the women's side, that in America, if you had a source of mental illness, then you would be put in an asylum, or in those days, or put in a mental health ward. Whereas with specific religions, also with a shamanic religion, if you actually became unwell, they saw that has a connection to the spirit world. So you'd be guided and you'd be initiated, and that would be through different practices. You wouldn't just be taken out of America and put into the priesthood. You would follow a long guide. And so the notion of mental health in these cultures is a lot more different to what we see here. And again, with Native American, Indians, and or the First Nation people, it's the same sort of thing as well. That it's the shamanic path. So normally for adversity. So that's not to say everybody that has a mental illness is initiated into priesthood, but these are one of the issues that could affect the third eye chakra. Another thing is that you'd find a lot of people would go on retreats, and they'll spend a long time on retreats, really meditating quite a lot, and then for some people who've had a psychotic break because the energy has been so much from what their body can handle, and it's not been grounded. And this is why it's really important when you do meditation that you are grounded. And I've always taken everybody through the routine, connecting yourself to the earth so that you're grounded, so you can receive the guidance properly. And also you're not going to float off and have a shock when you come back into the wide world. So it's really important that you kind of focus and realize that, again, if you're too much in your head, you can overdevelop your chakra without grounding, and again, opening the heart. And this is why, remember, I go back to the nature walks. Being in nature really helps you ground and balance the third eye. Sometimes when I'm doing a lot of spiritual work, I really feel I need to ground myself because I cannot come down. I'm on a high. It's a natural high. And I realised, you need to come back down to earth. So, a good way to ground yourself is stamping your feet, jumping, any kind of, again, we know the score because we've actually done the grounding exercise with the first chakra. So any African dancing, drumming, stamping of the feet, any of those exercises that we did. I want to just say and give you another little story of how I first became really interested in personal development. I was always at 9, I always saw things. I was always having, at 9, having deep esoteric conversations with my brother about Egyptology and things like that. So I actually had an awareness from a very young age. And that was kind of put to the back burner. 13, I got involved with normal teenage stuff, boys going out and everything. Well, not so much boys going out at 13 because I couldn't go out, but spiritual stuff kind of left me. And it wasn't until I left art college, which was really interesting because art college was my sacral chakra and it was my creativity, and I had to leave that to go into an office job. And it almost felt my connection to spirit went when I stopped being creative. And I had to get a job in an office, and that was the worst thing for me. And what happened to me was that I began to feel very low. I experienced, it was almost like a depression I'd never felt before. Because in the 80s it was, I was doing art, I was making clothes and fashion, it was just brilliant. And all of a sudden it all stopped. And then I got to 21, and I remember crying on my 21st birthday, thinking, what is going on with my life? This is meant to be my key to the door. No one is around me. it was, I didn't have a party or nothing. It just felt my life has ended. So it was a morning when I think about it. And a month afterwards, I had a panic attack. And I was in a roller disco, and I remember it specifically. And all of a sudden, the world just kept spinning, but I stood still. And it was the most frightening thing. It was a really big, real thing of unreality. And I thought I was dying. I had palpitations, got rushed to hospital. They couldn't find nothing wrong with me. Came home. I still had the panic again, back. And when you look at the mythology of Pan and panic attacks, it's actually your body sending you a signal, a warning of something is not right. And Pan is the god, and that's where panic attack comes from. He's the god of pleasure and enjoyment. So it's really funny. It's like my body was telling me I'm not enjoying it. And they were actually the worst times for me as a young person, but also a type of initiation, because I searched ways to find out what was happening. Why did this panic attack, here we go, throat chakra, happen to me? What was different to me? Why didn't my cousins have it, or my sisters, or anybody else? I wasn't in a relationship, but why did this happen to me? I had a sense of unreality. And only now I can actually think back, is that my third eye was awakening. And but on a level, it was awakening and